At the time of this recording, tariffs go into effect tomorrow. And if you guys would like me to do a live stream, maybe let me know in the comments. The idea just came to me. But check out what's going on in response to the tariffs. It looks like Toyota's not going to change prices. Hallelujah. This is awesome. Now, the problem is like, well, Toyota has the shortest day supply of any manufacturer in the United States by a landslide. Just imagine what the demand is going to be like if they don't raise their prices and most other manufacturers do. We'll talk about more, but we have other news to cover today. This is the first one. Hyundai, though, is on the other end of the spectrum. Now, ironically for Hyundai, just a week or two ago, they're like, hey, we're not really worried about tariffs because we've invested so much in the United States. Here's our new, $21 billion investment into Louisiana, and we're expanding our meta plant production, all that good stuff. That's great. That's exciting. But here they are saying, you're going to get price hikes, dealers. You're getting two big manufacturers saying two different things. We're also going to talk about Honda recalls or Honda getting investigated for engine failures. Okay, a little bit scary. All right, we're not quick enough. I'm excited to read what Nissan has to say because they haven't been quick enough for about 30 years or something outside of the GTR. We're going to finish with some good old politics. China, Japan, South Korea are responding to the U.S. tariffs, potentially working together. And then last-ditch effort, Japan's Ishiba, their prime minister, pushes for exemption from U.S. tariffs. This deadline nears. Guys, grab your snacks and drinks, buckle in. Tariffs start tomorrow. It's going to be a wild ride. Also, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's Kirk. I talk about car news every single day here on the channel. I also do car reviews, QX50 and Mazda 3 Turbo Hatch. I reviewed both of them today. Those will be going up soon. And then I have an e-tron SQ6 coming in today, as well as the new Challenger EV. Should I say Charger EV? It's the two-door. It's a two-door Charger that I'm getting. I think Challenger. You guys will forgive me on that and be understanding, I'm sure. So if you like that content, make sure you're subscribed, and let's get into the latest news. Toyota says it will maintain operations despite U.S. tariffs. I find this hard to believe, and I also don't trust the dealers to not jack up the prices. Toyota will keep running its operations as it has been and focus on bringing down fixed costs, it said on Monday, which that was yesterday at the time of this recording. All right, not expressing any intention to raise vehicle prices in response to Trump's tariffs. Japanese domestic media reported on Monday that the world's biggest automaker does not plan to raise vehicle prices for vehicles sold in the U.S. for the time being. They're just sitting tight. All right, they're sitting tight. Maybe there's going to be some concessions. All right, we'll talk about Ishiba-san. Maybe there's going to be some rollbacks of the tariffs. I don't know. They take place April 2nd and April 3rd. I believe tomorrow is tariff day, and then the day after is going to be when they start collecting on those tariffs, but they instate them tomorrow. And they're closely monitoring developments from U.S. authorities, including tariffs. In 2024, the U.S. was Toyota's biggest market globally with a volume of 2.3 million vehicles. Moving on to Hyundai. Hyundai is warning U.S. dealers of price hikes with the 25% tariffs. You know, South Korea actually exports more vehicles to the United States than Japan. All right, that's quite crazy. Just keep that in mind. So Mexico is the largest exporter of vehicles to the United States, then it's South Korea, then it's Canada, I think, and then Japan. Those are the top four, and then everyone else is pretty far away. So here's Hyundai telling its dealers it's evaluating its pricing strategy in the face of 25% tariffs on imported vehicles. Now, the parts tariffing doesn't start till May 3rd or something like that, about a month later to my understanding. But it's really just going to be engines, transmissions, one other component, all right, that starts a month after the entire vehicle import tariff, okay? And then there's no tariffs at this point in time for smaller parts outside of engine transmission. Randy Parker, Chief Executive Officer of Hyundai and Genesis North America, told dealers in a note that current vehicle pricing is not guaranteed and may be subject to change for units wholesaled after April 2nd. What does that mean? What does wholesale mean? These vehicles can be sold direct to fleet. That's wholesale, but these cars are sold from the plants where they're made to the dealers at wholesale value. And so those wholesale numbers could get increased, and then the MSRPs will go up as a result too. Cox Automotive estimates that 25% tariffs will add $3,000 to the cost of US-made vehicles and $6,000 to vehicles made in Canada or Mexico. That's on average. Who knows? I mean, when you're looking at luxury vehicles, it's going to be more than $6,000, all right, on imports. Tariffs are not easy. No, they are not. Parker also said the automaker is fortunate that we do not depend heavily on imports from Mexico and Canada, and we have been sure-footed in our U.S. investments. Well, the problem is that they are dependent on the Korean imports that are made in South Korea. So just because they don't make, okay, they make Kia K4s made down in Mexico. The Tucson, some of the Tucson volume is made down there. Something else that's not coming to me right now. So they make vehicles, just not nearly as many as the ones that are coming in from Korea. Unless South Korea gets a break, them touting, not being dependent on Mexico or Canada doesn't make a lot of sense. All right. Hyundai announced a $21 billion investment. I mentioned that. Let's keep moving. Over 2 million Hondas under investigation for engine restart failure. Here's what to know. Wow, guys, this is crazy. More than 2 million Hondas and Acuras are being probed after reports of engine failing to restart on its own after a complete stop at a traffic light at an intersection. So what's happening is you get to a stoplight and the auto start-stop feature kills the engine when the car comes to a stop to save gas so that these cars can also pass those lofty EPA emissions regulations or NHT, whatever, all the other different laws that concern the cars, all right, for better or for worse. So the engines are getting killed at a stop. And when it goes to fire back on, it's crickets. The engine doesn't come back on. And some people are saying they have to restart, like jumpstart the car. And the probe includes Pilots, Odysseys, Passports, Ridgelines, TLX, and MDX. And here are the years. I mean, going all the way back to 2016 on a lot of these models, they're having these start-stop engine issues. And 2.2 million vehicles are being recalled here. What's crazy is there's been over 1,300 reports. 4 reported that led to a crash or vehicle fire, and 2 have reported injuries from this issue. Here's a workaround. If you have a large one of these vehicles, they're pretty much exclusively the large Honda platform. If you have one, just press the cancel engine start-stop engine feature until this probe is done. All right. It drives me crazy. And in Florida, the engines are never turning off because we're always running the air conditioning. Nissan's not quick enough. And what Nissan has learned from China, Nissan is finally addressing its biggest problem. It takes way too long to design cars. Yep. Also powertrains, which go into cars. They're saying developing one car takes around 55 months. And what we're doing is by doing family planning and other changes in our development cycles. We want the car in the family to be done in 37 months, and the second or third car or fourth car in the family developed in 30 months. So meaning, what does a car in the family mean? A car that starts on a new platform, a new redesign offering new technology. So of course, the first one will take the longest, and then the subsequent models should take less time. So it may take 37 months to develop the Nissan Xterra-inspired EV that we're getting. There's going to be an Infiniti version that could take less than 3 years. Infiniti does have an EV crossover, but it's not anything like the Xterra that's coming. And this is 2 years quicker than what it takes Nissan to typically design and produce a new model. Here's their new CEO, Ivan Espinosa. All right, well, if we're still 3 years out to develop these vehicles, that's not good either, because these vehicles need to be here now. All right. Luckily, as we go back up to this image, we get some reprieve with the new Leaf. The new Leaf should have been here about 5 years ago. We're getting a new Sentra. We're getting a refresh Pathfinder. Here's the Xterra EV, or whatever they call it. Here's a refreshed Rogue or redesigned Rogue. Technically, this is a redesigned Rogue right here. Looks very RAV4-y in the back. And then this is the plug-in hybrid Outlander that's been rebadged as a Rogue plug-in hybrid. Okay, well, that will make vehicle design time take less than 30 months if you just rebadge other people's vehicles too. I don't know. Like, yes, this is good news that Nissan is realizing that they need to keep up with rapid product development, but will that lead to poor product execution and build quality? I don't know. I don't know. Time will tell. Let's get into politics. I try to stay out of it, but this is fascinating. Apparently, and you can take this with a grain of salt because this is coming from Chinese state media. All right, so communist media, take it with a grain of salt, but there could be a lot of truth to this. Believe what you want. China, Japan, South Korea are working together. They haven't talked in 5 years about business. I think this is fascinating. They might be doing a free trade thing where it doesn't, there are no tariffs if something crosses over or being sold from Korea to China to Japan, Japan to Korea. You get it. All right. There'd be zero tariffs, free trade. Absolutely. And this is all because of the United States tariffs. They want to protect each other, protect each other's economies. They're like, well, if business is going to be slowed in America, how can we make our business flow here in Asia? I just think it's interesting as well because Japan and South Korea, when I think of the supply chain after COVID, which was, I mean, you can blame it on China. I mean, believe what you want about COVID, whether it being manufactured or a pandemic, whatever. But regardless, they couldn't, like, there's a lot of Japanese automakers, Honda, Mazda come to mind, that because of the lack of production on parts because of the pandemic coming out of China, they're like, well, we had to rework our entire supply chain for that part of the world. All right. Now here we are just a few years later, and they're like, yeah, that's in the past. We're ready to turn a blind eye to what happened 5 years ago and the economic disaster and chaos that was COVID and what came out of COVID, which came out of China. Believe what you want, think what you want, but what the reality is here is that China, Japan, and South Korea, if you believe Chinese state media, they're working together to boost their economies with free trade because of the tariffs here in the United States. All right. Lastly, Japan's Ishiba-san pushes for exemption from U.S. tariffs if deadline nears. Prime Minister pledges to take necessary measures to curb impact on touted vehicles. Japan is the largest investor in the United States, Ishiba-san said in his news conference. We will thoroughly examine the impact of tariffs. It's crazy how similar that word is, on our domestic industry and take all necessary measures. The Prime Minister added that he would coordinate with political parties in Japan's ruling coalition as soon as possible on the specifics of how to address issues related to U.S. tariffs. Ishiba said he has no problem going to the United States to speak with Trump in person. If he hasn't already, that is kind of mind-blowing because so much of Japan's economy depends on the United States buying their goods. And lastly, this has just been updated about an hour ago before I close this out. Trump aides eye 20% tariffs as edgy world awaits Liberation Day. That's what Trump is calling April 2nd when tariffs go into effect. 20% tariffs on most of the $3 trillion worth of goods imported annually into the United States. 20%. That sounds better than 25%. Is it going to make much of a difference? I highly doubt it. There has to be, you think there would be brakes on companies coming from countries that are the strongest allies to the United States. But, at least from Trump's perspective, he's saying that these countries have been taking advantage of the United States with their tariffs. Now, if you look at someone like Japan, they don't have any import tariffs on vehicles. But I'm going to end it there. I'll see you guys in the comments. Again, let me know if you want to do a live stream for Tariff Day. It won't be the most jubilant one, and I'm sure it could get saucy in the comment section. But guys, this affects cars more so than I've ever seen in my lifetime, if you don't count, the supply chain disruptions. which is, which is definitely a huge thing too. But anyways, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more car news here on the channel. Have a great day. Stay safe out there. Peace out.